Hey, you are tuned in to Two Gems and a Mic with hosts Tanisha the Diva Mahomes and Linda L.D. Dorsey. Just know, if we talking about it, you need to hear about it. Unwind and enjoy.
Hey, Linda.
What's going on, Nisha?
Oh man, I've been dying to do this episode because I got some stuff to say. I'm excited about this one. We done had so much. They've given us so much material in
I
the
know.
last couple of days, and I am stoked right now. Let's jump right
We're
in.
gonna jump in. Welcome the folks back to Two Gems and a Mic.
Hey.
I'm your girl LD, along with my girl Tanisha the Diva Mahomes. So, like she said, you can see she's excited, or
Oh
hear that
yeah.
she's excited, and we're gonna jump right into
Mhm.
the program. So here's our lineup. Right, we're gonna talk about March Madness, the men's championship, and we're gonna talk about a little
Mhm.
bit about how those folks got there. UConn versus San Diego State University, the women's championship, right? LSU and Iowa, and the women's
Yeah.
basketball top stories that came from that whole championship run, mainly the Final Four. Dawn Staley addresses the media, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and some great news: the Naismith Hall of Fame class of 2023. All right, Tanisha,
All right.
let's let's get it.
All right. I'm ready. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Let's kick it off. Let's go.
So we have for the men's championship, we had UConn versus San Diego State University. San Diego State, um, they were, I think this was what was it, a 4 and a 5?
4 and a 5. Yep.
A 4 and a 5. First time in history, you got a 4 and a 5. We saw teams dropping like flies.
Flies.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, one of my favorite teams, I don't know why, was Florida Atlantic. I don't know. They just seemed like that team, number
Okay.
9. It was like, oh, let's get it. It was heartbreaking watching them lose by, 1 point, but hats off to San Diego State. I think they were outmatched with UConn, UConn being one of what I call the veterans left in the tournament.
Well, I,
So,
I I was partial to all the Texas teams. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm from Texas, and watching them fall out one by one and losing in really tight games, it was hard, man. I was like, I actually went at halftime. I was like, Texas was up, and then I went in and I came back, and I was like, yeah. My dad was here. My dad was like, I said, hey, this the last game of the night. They ought to have this one. Messed around and went to bed early, thinking they had it, and woke up sad. I was like, wait, what just went down? But it was like that. It wasn't like, I don't know if it was the bracket setup. I mean, did
mhm.
they get that wrong or something? But it was, everything was tight, and teams were. It seemed like they were coming out of nowhere. But these were quality teams. Like, these teams
Right.
were like, I'm not sure what, what the bracket setup was about, because it just
And
seemed like teams
I,
that shouldn't have been that good were way better and hadn't been getting the credit they deserved, and they came to play.
Well, that comes from, I think that comes from, um there's a lot of parity in the sport right now, so that's great. But that comes from, we see, I mean, how many San Diego State's games did you see on TV? How many Florida Atlantic games did you see on TV? You don't see
Zero.
them. So you're gonna see the UConns, and you know me, I'm a UConn men and women fan from
I
way back.
know.
So you see these teams on TV. You
Hmm.
see these big conferences on TV. So you're automatically going to root for these teams, and you don't know what. And I think that's a committee. I
Yeah.
mean, the committees claim, but they're going to pick who won that conference, right?
Eh,
So we know for certain spots that are left open, it's just who won the conference. Don't matter who
right.
won. It could have been the worst team that won the conference because they happened to be playing better that day. So you
Hmm.
don't know what you're going to get out of those teams. I think they were all well coached. I don't
Oh
know if
yeah.
I can say a team underachieved, but as you know, the worst time, at the worst time, you can have your worst game. You
And
can
that's
play great. If the ball
and
ain't falling,
yeah, I watched that Creighton game, and they couldn't miss. Like, Creighton was hitting threes like they were layups. Like, I was
yeah,
like, ooh,
yeah.
somebody going down. Like,
Hmm.
you knew when you shooting that good, it was like 40 or 50% from the from three, it's over.
And
Like,
imagine a team that was
it's
shooting
over.
70% from three.
I know. It's over. So, I can't even say these guys played bad games. They just met somebody that was having their best games at the time. And when that's going on, sometimes it's just not meant to be. Like I know it
Right.
hurt. It sting. But them boys came to play. I know, like I said, I watched the Creighton and I was actually rooting for Creighton, you know what I mean? And then they
Yeah.
came up short. So I mean, it was just crazy. It
Yeah.
was crazy, but it was so good. It was good basketball, and I think that it's good for those smaller schools that don't get they don't get the clout because now you're gonna start putting them on TV. They are
Right.
upsetting folks. You need to start giving them the time, the show time that they deserve. So I've been real happy, and I think a lot of that stuff, like I said, has a lot to do with NIL deals and you getting more quality players in different locations because they can afford to go there because somebody actually wants them and they know that they can actually be a star there. So they're not jumping all on these bandwagons going some of these schools. It's their talent is getting spread out more, and I think a lot of that. I mean, I'm gonna keep going back to that. A lot of it has to do with that NIL. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
you,
You want more parity in the sport, and I think players see it, and these kids that are getting recruited, why go to X school and sit on the bench for 3 years when I can go to Y school and
and they
play right
love
away
me.
and contribute to the team. So I think that's some players are looking at that, and then like you say, others are going to look. The top recruits, I guess,
And
they're going to
money
look for the money. So
and
um,
money.
that's a whole nother episode. We had one before, and I think we're gonna revisit the NIL
Oh, we
deals, but
got to.
we
We
don't wanna
got
go
to.
down that rabbit hole today. Yep.
Yeah, we got to revisit that one.
So hats off to UConn and hats off to San Diego State. UConn, this is their fifth championship. Still got to catch
Uh,
them women. They got 11. So
yeah,
I'm
but
always gonna plug the women.
they were the bigger team. They
Oh,
were
they were
outmatched.
stronger.
They
I
were
think
outmatched. They were just
for me, and I think we discussed it maybe about 10, 12 minutes into the game, even though it went back and forth, you kind
you
of
knew
just sensed that UConn was going to win the game. They weren't going to panic. They had the size. They had, um, I'm not even going to say the experience because they had some young guys on there. They just had a little more
it.
size and everything, to win that
It.
game. Yeah,
And I knew early on, and I think most people did because if you watched after the women's game, they were pretty much like that game was the game. Because
yeah,
now we pretty much know UConn's gonna win. I think everybody kind of went in knowing that, but then after watching San Diego State play, you couldn't count them out because
right.
they you know what I mean. You couldn't count them out, but I think the consensus was that UConn was too big and too strong for them.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wanted a game. You wanted a game for every game that was played throughout the tournament. You wanted that here, so you're gonna root for even if you no one connect UConn's gonna win. You want to root for San Diego, make it a game, make it a game. If they win, they win. But
Absolutely, absolutely.
unfortunately, for
They
them, they
came up
did not
short.
they did not pull it off. Yep.
Yep, they came up short.
Um. Yep. All
Now,
right. So let's move on. Let's talk about. Yeah.
let's
I
go these
thought I
girls.
thought this year that the women for
What?
me, not just because I'm a woman, I'm a big fan of it because I always go back each year and say, oh, which game was better or this or more exciting. This game was just off the charts. And then the storylines and everything reading up to it, you got the player of the year in there playing,
Hmm.
all that. So, and then watching the South Carolina game prior to, so everybody wants to see, LSU, ain't nobody having LSU going.
Mm-mm.
And then it's like, whoa, okay, LSU is for real. So a lot of stuff went
Mm-hmm.
went on in this game. I think it was if you look at Iowa, let's start with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to look at who Iowa, Caitlin Clark, player of the
Yep.
year, no doubt. She was
Yep.
killing all through the tournament.
Phenomenal.
Yep, Chinzano, she did what she needed to do. The big girl down low, she was doing what she needed to do. And they had bits and pieces here. Those girls were holding it down and doing what they needed to do. That's how
They
they
were.
got there. They beat good teams. They got there a couple of times. I thought I didn't in my picks. I didn't have Iowa going either, but my bracket was nobody I had in my bracket um won.
Went.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you go back to the women's tournament too, there were teams that went out like Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
Never saw that coming. I saw Stanford going, UConn injuries and stuff, wasn't sure, but
Mm-hmm.
they can always, pull some stuff out.
Because they got good people. They always got
Right.
good quality. Good quality team. You
Yeah.
can't count them out.
Virginia Tech, I thought that was a good team, well coached team. They played well. I thought they were gonna struggle,
Mhm,
but they were in the game. They were
mhm.
in the game with LSU. Just couldn't get over the hump. And I mean, you look at that LSU team. Good God,
Lord, I know.
the way they played throughout the tournament, you
Mhm.
saw somebody else shining each game. It
Every
was a
game.
new face each game. So it was great to watch. I mean, you've got your Alexis Morris, you know her, and you've got Reese, right? Those are two main people that you know from that team. You know the coach, of course, Kim Mulkey. But then you had Clark in that championship game.
But
Jasmine
Carson,
Clark.
Carson,
I mean, excuse me. Yeah, I said Clark. Jasmine
you Carson,
Carson. Carson,
Carson.
right? I'm reading my notes. Can't even read
No,
my
no,
own
no,
handwriting.
no.
Yeah,
But she was to me the game changer. They had nothing
absolutely.
for her. They didn't have an answer for that three. They didn't have and when I tell you she caught fire at the right time, baby, she caught fire at the right time because she had been struggling. She had been struggling, and I think she was like 3 for like 27 or something crazy. Like she had been struggling. And then she caught fire and couldn't miss. And I think that it couldn't have come at a better time because I'm telling you, they had nothing for her. She to me was a game changer. It kind of went under the radar because of all the ridiculousness that was going on with the trash talking back and forth and kind of the controversy that came with that. But Carson to me came in that game and I
Well,
mean
I
caught
think she got
fire.
her props. She got her props from the commentators, and she got her props from the team and from the coach. They knew.
Oh
They
yeah,
knew
hell
without
yeah,
them
they had to
22
know.
points, she wasn't gonna get it. I mean, in the first half, right? She took one shot in the second half, but in the first half, she was 5 for 5 from three, 7 for
Yep,
7 overall. I
yep.
mean, and the confidence. And then the last one, you kind of, even though you got a whole half to go, certain things happen in the game, and you're like, this is their day. So when she put up that last three at the buzzer for halftime,
Oh,
and
I
it
knew.
went off the glass, I was like, yeah, they
But
gonna need.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna need some magic wands and all that other stuff
Oh
to
man.
happen. And at that point, you got to remember, Reese was on the bench,
Hmm.
Morris was on the bench, and they really
Foul.
hadn't. Foul trouble. And Morris hadn't done what Morris can do. But the other person I think on that team that doesn't get
The love and shine
uh
they need.
LaDasia Wilson. I
Hmm.
mean, she's
Yeah.
played consistently all through the tournament. I really like that game. And it's so funny too, because looking at her, I swear it looks like her and Simone Augustus could be sisters or
What?
related somehow. They remind me of each other. But
You,
yeah,
you know,
and she's just like a quiet player.
when I see players like that are on a team, but you got like a player, it's like make me think of Bette Miller. It must have been tough in my shadow. Like you
Yeah,
like you out there balling, but don't nobody see you. Like literally you out there giving it all and nobody sees you because you got Reese out there doing double doubles for
yeah.
fun out there grabbing, snatching tens, 10. And I'm not talking about like the 15 or whatever she had this game. That was a lure of her double doubles, but she wasn't averaging 50. She was hitting like 20 and 30 and 10 and 30 and 50. Like them double doubles was real double doubles. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
her
This
her,
whole
her
time.
double doubles, her numbers, and it was a
Insane.
D1. It was a D1 record
Hmm.
for her
Yeah.
double doubles. And I
Yeah.
mean, just getting in there banging, it's tough because you're getting beat up while you're in there, right? So
They weren't
it's not
called.
easy for the
Yeah.
rebounds or anything like that. But
It was some hacking going
I
on.
think, yeah, I mean, it was physical games. It was physical games all through the tournament. Hats off to LSU because for
They
me,
sure did.
I didn't see it coming. I even up until the day, now when I don't understand how they were underdog for Iowa, but if you
Well,
had
you
told
mean you
me
don't
that
understand?
they were gonna beat, I know why it was because of Iowa's shooting and what they had done through the tournament and the way they were scoring points.
Hmm.
So I mean that's what I see. But if you had really watched the game, so I don't know if the
I think
what
it
do you want
had
to call
more
them,
to
the
do
odds
with who
makers
they.
and stuff.
I think it
Yeah,
had more to do with them getting rid of USC, South Carolina. Once they beat them, because I think the
yeah,
consensus was that they probably were going to repeat. Once they beat them, then it made them the favorite. From then on
yeah.
out, they were like, well, if they can beat them, they can beat anybody.
But
But
nobody
I
was looking at the records because Tanisha, think about it. I get it, right? Because Iowa beat South Carolina and LSU had lost to South Carolina earlier this year.
Mhm.
And they also LSU had two losses. Iowa had seven. LSU lost to South Carolina, the number one team, and they lost to Tennessee by 2 points in the SEC tournament. So SEC was tough.
Mhm.
SEC was a tough tournament to me. mm, Maybe the best tournament out. I mean, excuse me, maybe the best conference out there for the women. You got South Carolina in there. You got LSU. You got Tennessee. You got a lot of teams in there. Kentucky teams that may be rebuilding, but it's a great conference.
But you also
So,
got to remember, Linda. You also got
mhm,
to remember it. Uh, Caitlin Clark had just dropped 40.
mhm,
Okay, and
mhm.
looking like Steph Curry all while she was doing. I mean, catching it off to just turn this whap whap. I mean, I'm talking about you cannot take away from what that girl is as a talent. It is um, unbelievable. She's a great talent. I'm not on the best in history crowd, not even
Or
close.
not.
I mean that
Well,
I'm
that
not
I
on that
mean,
team. But
people as soon you go to that. As soon as people said it, it was like 10 names popped into my head.
that's what I'm saying.
Everybody was, and it was like you don't even have to comment because other people were saying so and so with like a word. When it pops into my head, you could go, but I mean, somebody like 4 years, four
Dude,
championships, Brianna
my
Stewart. You talk
Maya.
about generational talent. That's a generational talent, and still doing it at the next level.
That's what I'm saying, Maya. That kind of actually sparked a little Twitter fury because I was in spaces and you had people jumping in talking about she ain't even the best white girl in history. We forget
Yeah,
Stewie.
yeah. It got,
She
it
like
got,
they just went
yeah,
reckless, dude. It got
yeah.
bad quick, and I was like, whoa, yeah, yeah. But
That
I can name
whoa,
several people that I pick over, but
yeah.
but still, I
You
wouldn't
give
go in
her
there.
her, you give
Yeah,
her her
she
flowers for
nasty.
what she did this year.
And I don't know what she's going to the end result is going to
Right.
be. So maybe when it's all said and done, she goes in there and changes the game. But no, ma'am. I
Right. It just took her to another level. Make her what she is. Give her
Yeah,
what she is. She was the player of the year.
player of
I
the
don't
year.
want to take anything from her because I'm still trying to figure it out. Like you running down full speed, you sideways, you stop and pop, and it ain't a fluke. That shot is dropping. It's
Dude,
not a fluke. I think
she
some of
was
the teams figured out some of her weaknesses, but her strengths were
that
really overpowering those weaknesses because she
that
she
she
was
done
getting it
gave
in.
she done gave a new meaning to setting the pick. You said a pick for her, it's ass. Wow. She
Yeah.
was just whoop, cause coming off of just whoop. I mean, she
Well,
had to run around the pick. It didn't matter where she ended up. If you threw that ball, she was clutching. She was, I mean, it
and the
was
pick, think
bam.
about it. The
It
pick
was
and
horrible.
roll. They ran the pick and roll like they were running practice drills.
I,
Like I'm
all
sitting here watching, like, how can people not stop this?
I was because I don't know, like I played in college. My thing was defense. And for me, I couldn't understand that part of it. I'm like, let's make some adjustments there. We cannot keep
Yeah,
doing that. You
yeah,
can't you that didn't work last time, didn't work the last 7 times. Like we got to switch that up. So for me, I felt like there was some lack in there, but that shot was fire, and you
yeah.
can't get around that. But I will say this though, we're gonna have to talk about that trash talking. We're gonna talk about
Oh,
that trash talk.
we're gonna hit that and a couple other controversies that happened,
Hmm.
during that. But I have to take my hat off to LSU.
Oh
The
yeah,
non-believers, and I'm gonna say,
dude, I knew.
when I say I didn't think they would make it. I thought there were other teams that were like South Carolina, like a Stanford, that had that history and those veterans that were, gonna make it. I mean, hats off to Kim Mulkey, right? You got championships with two different teams, Baylor and LSU. LSU's first ever basketball championship for men
First
or
one.
women. So a lot of things going to school. And you picked up nine new kids over, from the transfer portal and
Yeah.
got them to play all together to get to this point. So having them believing in themselves and stuff like that. And I think Angel Reese is a big part of that. I
And
think
she
she's,
she brought some people that she knew though. She brought some people.
yeah.
She remember Al, she brought Morris. I mean,
Hmm.
Alexis. She brought her. She brought some people that she knew, and she's very good at knowing what she needs to get her system across. And when you buy into it, and you got those athletes like that, I think that Moke is not my favorite person. Let me be clear. I did not like how she did BG. And I said that. Shannon Sharp said it. You said it. There's a lot of people that they don't think of her as the best person, but you can't deny her coaching skills.
Well, let me
Apparently, she
clarify
got
what I
something.
said. I said I didn't know what she said. That's not why I didn't care for Kim Mulkey. I just thought Kim Mulkey
I
was too much flair, too much this, too much coach. I'm Kim Mulkey. I also thought, and this is my opinion, right? It ain't based on no facts. It's my opinion. I think all the controversy that went on in Baylor with the football team, the sexual harassment, the allegations, you didn't know anything about it. How is your head to the ground? Somebody's talking about it. Somebody's this. So when she was reached out and contacted about it, she didn't know anything. So I had issues with all of that. I've kind of felt like I listened to a lot of Kim Mulkey interviews, and Kim
mhm.
Mulkey, a lot of them are I. What I did, what
She
I needed to
flashy
do,
too.
what
She
I
came
did
in.
for the kids, what I did for this, and what I did for that. And then like the over the top, you can anybody
She
can
can't.
dress how they want to.
Yeah,
I
she
don't. If I
flashy
don't
though.
like
She
it, I don't
came in
like
looking
it.
like a whole jackal. Like she was looking crazy. But hey, it's
Yeah,
that's your style. That's your style.
that's
But
right.
ain't gonna stop you. You want to
I
wear a
can't.
trash bag and a
Yeah,
hula hoop for a belt. Rock it. That's what you do.
rock it.
That's what you do. But
Right. I
but it was
can't.
loud.
I'm not gonna get on board, and you're not gonna tell. Well, for me, you ain't gonna say best dressed coach out there because I think the best dressed coach out there is Dawn Staley. But that's a whole different story. If we want to talk about style, I can go down by for my style. What's gonna work for me? Because first of all, any coach that got on heels, it ain't working for me because I ain't wearing for heels. But
No ma'am.
God
You
bless them
don't need
because they could
none.
do it.
You don't
I
need none
Tim,
no way with your 6 foot ass. You don't need. You need to
right.
stay down
And
out
here's
here.
the other thing.
Walk around here
I'm gonna
missing
give
people's
Kim
self
Mulkey.
esteem.
She got hella knees because she stay squatted down the whole damn game. So them knees right there,
When she
I give her
wasn't on
props
the
for that.
court. When she wasn't on the court. Hell, I thought they had 6 out there.
Yeah,
I mean, when she
yeah.
wasn't on the court, she got away with
But
them a little bit of that too. So, but
yeah, so kudos to her. Championship as a player, two, 4 championships as a coach. We still got Pat Summit with 8, and we got
mm,
Gino with 11.
11,
So
yeah,
those
man,
are, I can only imagine what Pat Summit would have done,
would have done if she was
had she
still
still
with
been
us.
with us. So yeah, but I'm not gonna take this is LSU's time to shine.
Yes,
And that program is going to be a problem for some years, I think.
and we're gonna talk
They
about
have
that.
they have the number one recruiting class coming in too. So
What?
we're gonna see what they look like next year. But
Mm-hmm.
um, let's take a quick break. Let's take a
Okay,
quick break because we got a whole lot to cover.
Coach Dawn Staley.
Yeah, whole
We
lot
got
to
some
talk
stuff
about.
coming up. We got some stuff
Yep,
coming up,
we'll be
guys.
right back after this break.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody, to Two Gems and a Mic. Again, I'm your girl LD, along with my girl Tanisha the Diva Mahomes. So,
Hey,
Tanisha, there's a lot went on after that game on Friday with South Carolina and Iowa, and I don't. Some of it was around the game, and some of it was just around stuff that had been going on that I
mm-hmm.
won't say wasn't aware of. Like I'm supposed to be aware of everything, but Dawn Staley felt the need to address
Yes.
the media on some things that have been said by her team about her team. And it seems to me that Dawn is constantly during the season, during the off season, doing whatever, defending her team, defending women's basketball,
Mm-hmm.
defending, and it's like, oh my gosh. So let's dig in a little bit to it.
Well, I mean, I respect. First of all, I love Dawn Staley. So let me be clear.
Hmm.
I love Dawn Staley. I grew up when she was out there killing, and I followed her in the WNBA. So I'm a fan of Dawn Staley anyway. But it's neither here nor there. What really impressed me was that Dawn Staley got on that podium and defended her girls as if she had given birth to every one of them. I'm telling you, she was not allowing the press to get away with the tomfoolery that they were saying. She wanted them to know that it had gotten back to her. She wanted them to know that they had it all wrong. That was not the character of her team. And I think she did a wonderful job of taking time to point that out to the press to let them know we hear what you are saying. And that if you knew where those girls came from, the heart that those girls had, you would not be doing that. And any coach that's willing to go to bat for their players like that is always going to have the respect of the team. And she put the press on notice. Don't do it in front of me because I will call you out. And I loved it. I loved every second
Yeah,
of
and
it.
I think some of it wasn't even coming from the press. It was just coming from people that were saying things. So she was putting it out there. She was putting everybody on notice because
Oh,
you had
notice.
the monkeys. They were being called bar fighters, street
Bar
fighters,
fight.
thugs,
Oh
or
man.
whatever.
I
And because of the
don't play the
physical
monkey shit.
play that they have, and then there was somebody on. This was something that some one of the opponents that they played said to the official when a foul was called on her. She's 6'7". She can take it,
I know.
comments like that. Like, and that's to me how the game that was part of the controversy. And I think
Yeah.
Dawn was she wasn't happy. She
That
wasn't
ref
happy
and
with the way the game was being called. I thought it was a horrible game, and I was the way it was called. And I
she didn't go
had
out there. She didn't
respect
go out there
for
and
those.
she didn't go out there and use that excuse though.
No, no, she didn't. I had respect for the officials prior to that. Watching them call. But it was just
Hmm.
insane. Some of the things that were and then people
Allowed.
coming on, yeah, and then people just went crazy. Like all of a sudden, it was like people talking about, oh, Dawn needed to adjust. She got out coached. No, she didn't. If you know anything about basketball, she didn't get out coached. I watched the game. I looked at the stats. Right, she had three of her starters that shot 3 for 24. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Then you got Aaliyah
And
Boston, her best player, probably the number one pick in the WNBA draft, doesn't score in the first half. Why? Because she's
yeah,
on the bench with
foul
foul
trouble.
trouble. And if you're looking at the fouls that they were calling, it was like it was ridiculous. But people are saying, oh, they're so physical, so they could take that. They should be able to take that. Getting
Yeah.
beat up and not getting calls. They should be able
Hmm.
to this. They should be. And I'm like, it was just ridiculous. And I think as
Yeah.
a coach, as teams that have more black athletes, they get stereotyped. And I think that's what she's getting tired of. I know for me, I'm getting tired of it. I don't want to put words into her mouth. I can only speak and repeat what
Hmm.
she said. But you get tired of hearing the comparisons. And this is going to lead us to our next topic with Angel and Caitlin, where you have, you know, I've dealt with it myself, so I know it's real, right? At
Hmm.
work, I have been called the angry black woman.
I know.
But then I have the white male or the white woman or whatever. They're
Passionate.
passionate. They say the
Mhm.
same shit I say,
Passionate.
but they're passionate.
Happens to me. We're in the
So
professional world and we're in
yeah.
meetings, and that is sort of, you have to almost tread lightly how yeah. It's
So
that
people talk
stereotype
about
exists.
right, and people talk about the perceptions, right? And everyone's perception, I guess, is their reality, but it ain't a real reality. So if they stop and look and say, hey, it's okay. Like we have this, the face, right? What do you call
Yeah,
this?
John Cena. It's John
The
Cena.
John Cena thing
Can't see me.
doing, right? She's been doing it all year. Caitlyn does that all year. She talks trash. She admitted that she talked trash. Angel wasn't doing that. Angel was doing the, you too small, right? When she
Mhm.
was 4 or whatever, you too small. She's been doing it all year. That's fine,
Mhm.
right? I don't
Mhm.
even know if they doing it or talking trash to an individual, but you're doing it.
Mhm.
Somebody do it back at you, you got to eat it. I think of that when I think of Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, when he threw the deuces
Yep.
against Tampa Bay, and then Tampa Bay came back and whipped their ass, the Chiefs' ass in the Super Bowl, and the dude threw the deuces on him, and he got mad. Brother, you've been doing that all year, so you're
Come
gonna
on.
eat that. You're gonna eat that, and that's the same thing here. What got me was people really lost their minds.
And they did. And we about to jump into it because you and I do not agree on this. And this is probably going to shock y'all as our fans, people out here that listen to podcasts, the listeners. Y'all about to hear Lynn and I. We have two different perspectives. We agree on some stuff, but there's a couple of things that I look at completely different. Little caveat, Lynn and I both played college sports. We are extremely competitive people, but we about to get off into this because the whole Caitlin Clark thing, I will be the first to say it. She talked trash. She was backing it up. She was dropping. She was going out there. She was balling. It hurts. And we got a little saying, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun in the country. When you lost that game, it seemed like the world all of a sudden needed to coddle her. I'm not saying Caitlin wanted to be coddled, but the world needed to coddle her. And for me, when you out there talking that trash, don't write a check your ass can't cash, and you don't have to worry about that. I thought everything that came her way from LSU, from the moment that they said you will respect us, we thought it was disrespectful what you did to the previous team. She knew what she was in. It didn't stop her from doing what she did. She went out there. She was like, I'm going out here. I'm going to ball. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to do what I need to do. And I ain't have no problem with what Angel Reese did. None. Zero.
I didn't
Nothing.
either. So I don't know what part you talking about we disagree on. I had no
Well,
problem. If you put it out there all
we
year long,
disagree on the fact
you're going
that
to take it. I disagreed with the fact. Let me be very clear. I'll
Mhm.
state what I disagreed with. I disagreed with the fact that people were trying to make Caitlyn out to be a villain. Everybody did it. The villains were the people that were making the comments. That's my statement. You can state it differently. The villains were the Keith Olbermans, the owner of Barstool, those people and all the other people that were on there calling this kid, and I call her a kid. I mean, I coached against
She's a
her
kid.
right here in Baltimore. I was at Spalding High School, and she beat us up for 4 years. When I say beat us up, she wore us out. She was a good player. She's been a good player for a long time. And she was at St. Francis. So to me, those are the villains because the other kid didn't open her mouth, right? She talked trash. Everybody talked trash. I talk trash. I got to eat it. Caitlin had to eat it. I agree with that 100%.
Mhm.
And Keith Oldman, he called her
An idiot.
you
An effing idiot.
close your ears, a fucking idiot. I'm gonna say it the way it was. The other guy called her a piece of shit. I mean,
Yep.
people were calling her stuff that was just way, way, way out of pocket.
Yep.
I mean, it was like, are you kidding me? And then Oberman, I mean, he was backpedaling. He was doing the damn
She
moonwalk
was.
to
Of
come
course it
back
was.
and say, "Oh, I don't watch men or women's basketball, so I didn't know that this kid was doing it before." Even if she was, or even if Caitlin wasn't doing anything before and Angel Reese did that, you still don't call her that. You still don't call her that. There's no justification in the world for you calling a kid those names. So I just can't go with that. And it went crazy fast.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like, when it's to me, as far as I'm concerned, when I was growing up, we was playing basketball on the courts, as we call it back home. You talking trash the whole game. But the person, to me, I thought this whole narrative that, oh, well, when Caitlyn did it, it was different because she didn't the game was over. And listen, trash talking is trash talking. To
Agreed.
me, the best trash talking is when you hit game point. Get your ass up off the court. You start then. That's when the real trash talking get going. You hustling then when you get that last shot and it's time to eat that crow. I'm finna make you feel horrible. You finna sit over there with egg on your face. Everybody on the court finna know. I'm finna go ham. To me, that's basketball. This
Right. I agree.
narrative that oh, was she following her around? No, she just let her know I'm finna put this ring on my finger. I'm finna put this ring on my finger. And no, you cannot see me. That's just trash talk. And Kaylin, this is the part that I didn't really particularly care. When they asked her in the press conference, she was like, I really wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to spend time with my teammates at last minute. I'm like, no, you saw that. You saw
And
that.
even if she did, so what?
I mean, but don't. I mean, just you knew what was going on. You act
I
like
know what was going on. So
it's
what?
beneath you or
And
whatever.
I'm
No, just
gonna say
own
the
the shit.
same thing. If I had lost the game, I'm gonna
Nah,
say the same
man.
thing. I'm gonna be like, I did. You wanted her to do what you wanted her to do, and she
Exactly. I
didn't, and
wanted
that
her to
pissed
get
you
up.
off.
I
But it
wanted
ain't
her to get
about
up
you.
there and be like, I want her to get up there and be like, yeah, she got me.
Why?
Yeah, she got
Why?
me, but I'll be back next year because
But
I would have respected that a
that's
little bit more than
okay,
you
and that's
pretending you didn't know
you,
stuff that was existing, but you was doing it. You was doing it yourself. Come on,
right?
man. You
And that's fine. And that was the
don't
thing.
get
I
politically
thought to
perfect.
me, I thought it was brilliant because she pissed a whole bunch of people off, like you. You're worked up over that, which it was even a
I'm not worked
distraction.
up
And
over it.
I would
I'm
be
just
like,
simply
you know
saying
what?
I would have respected it more if she just
Okay.
would have owned it a little
I
bit
had
better.
respect for her saying and not feeding into it. So feeding
Yeah,
into it more, the media, yeah, she got me, this, that, and the other. More the media, I respected that, not feeding into it. And somebody probably said, don't even address those questions. And I'm glad they
I'm sure
didn't
they
because
did.
the
I'm
rest
sure
of the
they did.
people spoke up enough for her. And they got to a point where it was just so. What got me was the people that were saying, oh my God, I can't believe they made those calls. Wait, nobody was whining about those calls on Friday. So it just goes to show you,
Yeah,
fans, not even
that's
this
wild.
game, fans are rabid like throughout. We can go back to, I think it was the San Diego State game, the men's game or whatever, um, or maybe in Florida. I can't remember. They said, "Oh, do you make that call?" We're always like, do you make that call? Do you do this? If it's your team, yeah, you make the call. If it ain't your team, then you don't make the call. So, but I thought the referees were horrible. So I'll agree with
Well,
that. I thought they were
consistently
horrible
horrible.
in the LSU Iowa game too. It was like, and
No, I
I
said
was watching
consistently
comments
horrible.
of players, WNBA players, other players, coaches or whatever, saying stop inserting yourself into the game. When I went and watched the men's game, a lot of physical play.
Mhm.
Referees ain't going crazy blowing the whistle. Let them play. You got to make them calls on some of these plays,
Mhm.
but let them play. You don't let it get out of hand. And you
Yep.
can have conversations where it's getting out of hand, and it's got to be equal, right?
Yep.
So, whatever you're doing. So I just thought, they were boasting it's an all female team. It's all this is all. No, give me the best. I want the best to call these games or whatever. So, um, yeah, I mean, the perceptions, we're still going on stuff. We're still hearing stuff, days later. And I'm gonna call out. I ain't gonna call them out by name because there's too many of them to list.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna call out some of the big ones, the ESPNs, the Shannon Sharps, all this. Y'all ain't said a damn thing about women's basketball all year, but you got some controversy, so now you want to talk, right? Have that same energy all year during the seasons
Mhm.
and pump up the women's basketball game. Some of these other people that were talking, they watched the game all year long. And for the Iowa fans and a lot of the fans that supported Iowa, those were a lot of Johnny come lately people. They don't watch women's basketball. I talked to people that went to the game. They don't watch it. They went to it because their school was there. So you're supporting your school. I'm all for that. But when you got people that don't know what they're talking about, admittedly saying, I don't watch basketball, but I follow it. Women's basketball,
Yeah.
but I follow it. I don't even know what that means.
I don't even care about that. What I care about is the fact that they were trying to call one person class, like the head, like so she has so much class, and the other one has is classless. No,
Yeah.
hell no,
Yeah.
hell no.
No, that
Miss me
was
with that.
that was so out of pocket
Miss me
that
with
it's
that
just,
shit.
and like we say, we see it every day. You live it, I live it. So you get tired of it. But I'm a grown woman. I'm almost 60 years old. That kid is what, 21, 22. Now she handles her own. She's a tough kid.
Hmm.
She handles her own. But it's almost like I I ain't going for nobody's kid like that.
Don't come
You
for
know what I'm
mine.
saying? Yeah, I'm not going
I'm
for
actually
anybody's kid like that.
surprised her
So
parents didn't go left. I mean, yeah,
I
you
her
can't fight
mom,
through Twitter, but
her
literally,
but
I'm saying you're not gonna get out there and start talking out the side of your neck to my child. That's just life. Those are life rules. That's not
but
acceptable.
sometimes it ain't even worth it. Like Twitter, that's where you're gonna go back at somebody at Twitter.
No, I
That
mean
could
that's
go
why I
on
say
for
you can't
days.
fight on Twitter. But I'm just
Yeah,
saying
no.
that's some
So
out
we
of
don't know
pocket.
what her parents did, or we don't know what her parents said or her mom said. I would say her mom, what her mom had said in a press conference, or this or that. And so it's kind of like, yeah, she's pissed because somebody gonna call your kid that name. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
pissed,
yeah.
and I'm
On that
sure she's
with
pissed
that
off, and
type
she's
of
the biggest
platform,
cheerleader.
and
Yeah.
everything. And I just felt like a lot of racial undertones just popped out. Like you just saw like the country get real ugly again. And it was a
Over that.
basketball
Yeah.
game. It was a
Yeah.
basketball game. And granted, I mean, I know a lot of people wanted her to win. She's player of the year. She just knocked out, the main, but she lost.
Right.
She lost the game. It's
Live with it.
okay.
Live with it. They thought
You
that
know,
they were going to win that game. They thought it was going to be called the same way. They thought a lot of things. I wanted to shout out, and it didn't earlier. So, going back to Angel Reese's cousin, Jordan Hawkins also through this area. He was on UConn,
on
star for
UConn.
UConn,
Yeah,
and he won. So,
that was
low
great.
family ties. And she
Oh,
got a
they
brother,
having
of
that.
course, that plays for Maryland. So, Yeah,
I want to
they
be
having a good
invited to the
time.
family reunion, baby.
Yeah, they gonna have.
They about to have a
Yeah,
good
they
time.
coming in
Hell
there
yeah.
talking trash.
Oh yeah,
They
you know
coming
it's
in there
gonna be
talking
fun up in
trash.
there, baby. Oh yeah.
So yeah, that I do. I agree. It's a lot of things that have to be fixed, but I think the game itself is in good hands when you have
Oh hell
leadership
yeah.
like Dawn Staley that's going to speak up and people are going to listen and they have a lot of respect for her. So I think that's that that's a good thing. Another thing that came out and people again, oh
Hmm.
God, they
Here we go.
lost it right.
Here we go.
So
I can't
the
say I
first
lost
lady,
it.
the first lady came out and said, "Hey, we're gonna go. We think it was such a great game. Not only gonna have LSU, but we're inviting Iowa." And it was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you this or you that?" So somebody was saying, I saw a couple of tweets that were funny because people saying, "Who is our press secretary? Who is this? Who is that?" She was at the games. So this is picture.
She
Of,
went.
we have pictures of her at the game. She enjoyed the games. You can see her. She's cheering, cheering, cheering. I don't know if she was cheering for 18, but she was cheering, cheering, cheering. She
Hmm.
went to the Super Bowl. They're Philly fans, so cheering, cheering, cheering.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you think about it, and I don't know if she didn't do it because it was Philly and that was her team to say, I want Philly to come to the White House, or if
Exactly.
she was doing it. I don't know what her motives were. So I'm
Hmm.
not going to assume that I know. I don't know if she was doing it because she just wanted Iowa to be there, or she's saying, this is, because she was sitting with Billie Jean King too, right? If she was saying, oh, this is a good thing for women's basketball, bring them all in.
I
I
think
think
that's what it
some of the,
was.
yeah, I think some of the comments were a little harsh because she's walked it back
Mhm.
and realize, okay, the
As she
tradition
should.
is, yeah, the tradition is everybody doesn't show up.
No,
I think
you don't get to go to White House for being second. That's what makes it special. It went back to what, 18? How long has it been? Something
it's
65 something.
forever.
It's been
Yeah,
a
forever.
long ass time. You
Yeah,
win, you get to go to White House. You do not get to bring the loser.
right.
Like that's never
Yeah, the
happened.
runners up don't come.
And here's my problem with that. It's like, are you going to invite San Diego State University?
Right.
Because they
No, I
played
agree.
you.
I'm agreeing with you 100%. I didn't agree with some of the responses. I think she saw them or her people saw them and said, oh, I might have overstepped here. I thought some of the responses by I saw the response from Clark, I saw the response from Iowa coach. We're not going. This is LSU's time. We're not going. I saw the
Exactly.
response from Reese saying, no, I don't forgive her. I'm not gonna let that slide. She can't walk her back. We gonna go to my president's house, Obama and
That
Michelle.
was a
She was calling, Barack
unnecessary
and Michelle.
roughness.
I
I'm
think
gonna hit
that
it with
was
unnecessary. Yeah,
a
that was
bit
unnecessary
much
roughness.
for me because I don't believe, and if it happens, it happens. Yeah, I've been wrong many a day and gonna be wrong many a day coming. I don't think Obama would allow that.
No, I think that Obama would probably be like, you can come on your spare time, like we gonna hang out and chill one day. But what we're gonna do is the proper order, which is we're gonna show President Biden his respect, and y'all go there first, and then we may do
And
some
that
on the
may
back
be, I
end.
mean, she's riding an emotional high and all of that, and maybe she don't want to go to White House, but I don't know. I haven't heard from anybody else from the school, so I don't know if she's
I
speaking
think
on
it. I
behalf of the team
think looking at
or
kind
what.
of the tone of, and this is my opinion. My opinion. The tone, it just seemed everything seemed so racial to me. It was like we got one person doing this, one person doing this, one person is a complete has no class, one person has all the class. Like everything, and the only difference is one's white, one's black.
Hmm.
Okay, the end. They're both great players. They both have records. They both have done some things. They're great. So the tone is like why? Because the way the way the statement was out, it said Caitlin Clark and our team or something to the house to the White
And that's
House.
how it is. It's gonna be Caitlin Clark in
Yeah,
Iowa.
it was
It's
like
gonna be
Caitlin
Angel
Clark, and
Reese
I
in
think people
LSU.
was. I think
Yeah.
when you have a person like Angel Reese and Carson and Morris, they're like, ain't nobody trying to hear that. We just eliminated the threat. We
Well,
want to
they
hear.
say the same
We
thing, Tanisha. So it depends on what you're looking at. I'm not gonna buy that because it's Angel Reese
telling.
in LSU.
That's why I
It's
said it's my
Aaliyah
opinion.
Boston in South Carolina. That whoever that leader is
But
on
I'm
that team,
saying the
it's
way
always
it
their
came
name.
out from her, it made it seem like, oh, I'm just really trying to get Kayla Clark, and then they can come too. That's the
Ah,
way I think people perceived it. That's
that
my
that's
opinion.
Well, that's yeah, and that goes back to a perception. I perceived it a totally different way. I perceived it as she thought she was doing a good thing having both teams come, and I don't
Well,
think she was aware of everything that was going on. So, like you said,
there's some.
it's
I think
opinion,
there's some.
but
I
I
think
want
that
to
she's a
hear
bit
from.
naive in
I
that.
think
And
so, and I want to hear from the school. I don't want to hear just from Angel Reese. You're not LSU athletic director. You're not, unless you're saying I've talked to my teammates, and we've talked to the coach, and we've decided. You say I ain't going. You don't have to go. You really
okay,
don't have to go. But I mean, others have gone there, like Curry and the Golden State Warriors and all that other stuff. Those teams have gone. They've had a great time. They got to go with both. But you can't pick and choose whose house you want to go to. It's one White House. It's a White House visit. So I hope they change. If she doesn't change, that's fine. If she's okay with that, I don't want it to be any regrets that I didn't go to the White House for an opportunity, because visiting the White House is an opportunity of a lifetime, and it's something that may not come back. And I don't think there's any, I mean, you've got the first female vice president in that house. That's historic that you can go in there and do that. So to think about the big picture, that
yeah,
would be
and
my
that's
thing.
and Linda, and you're right because what we're more mature, we're older. They're
It,
they're and here's the thing. I truly believe that Caitlyn has someone guiding her kind of through this little everything that's going here. Angel, there's been some times that she's shown just her age being a little young and being overexcited and things like that because she could have handled that a lot better, in my opinion. I don't
and I,
forgive her.
oh
Come
yeah,
on now.
yeah, and I ain't
That's a
beating
little
her up
much.
for it. That's
But
how
I'm
she feels. That's her heart, and I think she wears her heart on her sleeve. So
but
that's
she
the way
will
she is. But that's
that
cool too.
spotlight, I'm hoping that spotlight will also develop some more maturity because eventually she's going to get tired of being everything that she says being under the spotlight, you know what I'm saying, and people critiquing it. And she will start, I think that she will start to say, okay, well, I might could have done this a little bit different. Some people will probably step in and start trying to help, but those are raw emotions right after the game. She felt like they deserved more respect than they were getting. And she wouldn't, but she's what, 20, 21, 20, 21, 20.
Yeah, I'm not sure 21, 22, or
She'll be,
even if she's that. Yeah, no, I
she'll be
think
fine.
I think
She'll be
she
fine.
she realizes, because I've talked. I mean, I've talked to her. Excuse me. I've seen her talk on other things. She knows she has a platform.
Okay.
And I think she's gonna use that platform for get good. I think she's gonna use that She knows she's a role model. She knows kids are looking at
That's
her,
what I'm
so
saying.
she's
But the
gonna
main
use
thing is
that.
she is a
And
role model and she
yeah, and
knows
I
it.
think she knows that. I think she knows that, and
And I think her
as
heart's
she
in the
is,
right place.
I mean, right? Goddamn, I'm shit. I'm probably way older than her mother. I'm probably old enough to be. I know I am. I'm old enough probably to be her grandmother. You know what I'm saying? So what I know from what I've been through, and I I'm
Also,
sad that she's
yeah,
going through some of the stuff that I went through.
yeah.
That's heartbreaking that she has to deal with some of the stuff that I've dealt with, and here I am, getting ready to be
Hmm.
60, and she's a 20 something year old. So it's
No, right.
crazy. But hat off to her. Use that platform. Continue to
Congratulations,
speak your mind, and congratulations to the entire LSU
LSU.
team, organization, school. Kudos to them.
All
Right.
right,
So
all right.
yeah, I'm good. Let's jump
Let's roll.
into this. This was some good news, because I'm a fan of most of these
Oh,
people on here,
I
right?
know, I
So
know, I know one that you love. I know one that you love.
so
Let's
we're
hit it.
talking about the Naismith. Well, Becky Hammond. I'm a Becky Hammond
Yeah,
fan, right?
I know.
So,
Yeah,
but this is a good class. This is a
it
very
really
good
is.
class.
You can't argue with any of it. What's wrong?
Now you got Dwayne Wade, Dirk. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
come on, Dirk's game, Powell, Tony Parker, Greg as a coach, who's mentored Becky. Look what Becky's doing as a coach. I mean,
Man,
this is like a tree that's just
it's a no-brainer. Is what it
and
is. It's a
then
no-brainer.
Gene Best, Gary Blair, David Hickson, Gene Keady, the coaches. I mean, we
Yeah.
all know about Jim Valvano. I had the pleasure of meeting when he was at Iona years ago. My neighbor, we called him Brucey. Brucey was recruited, and so got a chance to meet Jim Valvano. He used to come over to the house, to
Oh
his
man,
house
that's
all the
awesome.
time. Really nice guy. Um, I'm excited about everybody on here. I think I'm most excited about the Women's Veteran Committee selecting the 1976 U.S. Olympic team. The first, they won the silver, but it was the first women's basketball Olympic team. And to
And
me, she,
You know who was on
Hmm.
that team? You know who made the first bucket?
That's right. The
The
first
first
bucket
bucket
ever.
would never go.
The queen, the queen of basketball, Lucia Harris, and
Lucy
we did a
Harris.
whole podcast on that. Go check it out on that documentary. And that guy won an
Oh,
Oscar
dude,
for the documentary. It's called The Queen of
of
Basketball.
basketball.
If you haven't seen the documentary, shame on you. But she
Yeah.
did. She scored the very first basket. But let me tell you, you got Nancy Lieberman
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh
was
yeah,
on
that
that
ooh,
team.
Lord,
Pat
Lord, that team.
Summit.
Yeah.
Pat Summit was on that team.
Everybody is
And
so nice.
Maya Drysdale was on that team. We talked about Lucia Harris and someone I know personally, Gail Marquis.
Hmm. I know.
Gail went to Queens College in New York. I got to watch Gail do certain things. She was like a role model for me, seeing what she was doing, even
Awesome.
after basketball and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I love the fact. I love. I'm Lucia Harris. Like, dude, like Shaq, and I believe that Shaq and Curry are executive producers on that. Take time to go see that, folks. We did we did a podcast on. Take time to go see it. That woman did some amazing things, and it's sad that people are just now starting to say we lost. She passed. She just passed away, I think, last year.
Last year.
Last year. But she did. She was in her own documentary, and it's great. You get to hear from her personally. I anybody that's in the women's sports, please go check that out. You would not be wasting your time. It was an awesome documentary, and she is a credit to the game. And it's unfortunate she's coming in after we just lost her last year, but
I know all her
she's getting
flowers
her
and all her
flowers.
recognition now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, I look at it right. Never, never, never too late.
Never,
You
never.
know, yeah,
Because the family will greatly appreciate what getting accepting that award for her. She's a very sweethearted
yep,
person. I think you guys will fall in love with her if y'all watch that documentary. It was awesome. One of the
yeah.
best things I saw
I
in a
had
long
reached
time,
out because I was trying to
or I've
get
seen in a long
Gail.
time.
Yeah, trying to get Gail Marquis to come on one of our podcasts, and I'm gonna reach out to her again, closer to the time, or maybe after the time that she does this, to talk about her experience. But I had reached out to her a while ago, and it was May 17th, and she reached back out to me. She's very busy, does a lot of traveling, but she said, "Hey, Linda, sorry, I'm just seeing this now." She said, "Sure, Lucy was a great player, but an even better friend. I miss her."
Yep,
And yeah, from one of her teammates, and that's all you heard from all of them. What a kind person that she was.
so nice.
And so yeah, congratulations to all. What an honor to
Absolutely,
make it into the Hall of
Naismith
Fame.
Class. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So congratulations to all. It's a great, great thing. So Tanisha,
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you what you
the
got.
closing thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that we as a country, we have been dealing with race as an issue. It always seems like it's more of a black and white thing, but there's plenty of the minority groups. But this situation with the women's basketball is a prime example that we are not quite as far as we thought we had come, or as most people like to think that we have come. But these are people. Caitlin Clark's a amazing basketball player. Um, Angel's an amazing basketball player, and I hate the thought of everything boiling down to black and white when we were just blessed with one of the best March Madness tournaments that we've seen in a long time. Talent on overflow, and it kind of left a sour taste because we walked away from something that we witnessed that was fun and great, and what's left on it is a little bit of a stain because of all the racial tension. And there's still work to be done, people. Um, and I think that's where I'm at with it. It's like, the struggle is real and it's not over. We got to do better as a people, and then hopefully, we get these things smoothed out so the generations later on don't have to deal with this nonsense. That's my closing thoughts, Linda. It
Okay.
really is.
So if we're
If
talking
we're
about it,
talking
you need to
about it,
hear about it.
and always what, Linda?
I would say be kind and be blessed. And I mean, especially with things that are going on and it's outside of basketball, it's a lot of stuff going on
Mhm.
um, that, we as a country, we need to come together. I mean, we had another, school shooting. It's just stuff that should not be repeating itself. We're so hell bent on this amendment, my amendment rights, don't step on me, don't do this, don't do that, and I'm just at a point where it's like, come on, you know, we've 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 got to stop. We have got to
Y-
stop. We got to think. We got to do better. We are all human beings.
You know, that's
So,
close to my heart, Linda, what you just
yeah,
said, because you know what
yeah.
I just went through with my child.
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm like, it's too much stuff. I mean, you walk outside and you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if somebody's gonna say something to you or do something to you. I mean, we got the madness going on in New York with Trump and all that other stuff. So, hey,
yeah,
tell your loved ones that you love them. And like I
absolutely.
said, remember, be kind, be blessed. It's free. So until
Peace.
next time, peace. Thank you for tuning in to Two Gems and a Mic. Be sure to subscribe and follow. Until next time, remember, be kind, be blessed. Peace.